asked our viewers on Twitter how they felt about this. We said, what kind of plan do you hope your school district will implement? And it really just shows how divided we are on this, because you take a look at your screen there and it's almost exactly the same, right? I mean, there's just a 0.7 is not even, the difference on this. 42% saying in person with mask, 42% saying in person without mask, just about 15% saying they want that remote option. So how do you navigate this as an administrator? I'm going to start with you, Rob. How do you navigate this as an administrator when you have people feeling so differently about it?
So I think the first thing is to not react, because there's a lot of emotion here, and to recognize that and to communicate open and honestly with parents. So as much as I try and do that, I realize that I'm not going to make everyone happy. So there are parents who are very upset because they wanted to have no masks. There are other parents who feel that we're not doing enough, that there should be masks outdoors, that it shouldn't just be indoors. And then at the same time, you have parents, because there is the rise in pediatric cases of the Delta variant, parents who are now saying, well, if we're at the place where it's so precarious that we have to wear masks in school, what about the return to the virtual option? Can we have that for some students? So that is the other thing that has bubbled up. I would say it's a third contingency, if you will, who are looking for that virtual option to come back.
We've seen is, it's mask or no mask seems to be the biggest debate. But now that question of, we've done remote school, we saw it work to some degree last year for some students. So is that something that we should be looking at again, Joe?
I don't think so. I think, if we need to pivot to remote learning because of, an outbreak or a high number of cases or quarantine and isolation, we have the capability to be able to do that. But I think one of the things that we all agree on is the importance of having all of our children back in our facilities every day. You're right. Some students flourished when there was remote learning available to them, but we also know that many students did not. And for us as teachers, we really have to be keeping an eye on all of our children. And the best way to connect and keep an eye on and make sure we're supporting all of our children is to have them back in our classrooms. That was always the goal. It is a bit of a celebratory atmosphere here now that we are able to do that. Again, it's imperfect for sure. None of us wants to be contending with COVID-19. But the fact that we are talking about, Rob's talking about it, I'm talking about, so many other school districts are talking about getting all of our children back into the classroom every day. A year later, that's great news.